Hello and welcome to this taste challenge, this late morning taste challenge, 11:09 a.m. Central Daylight Time, April 9th, 2019. We have two whiskeys that maybe, if the information is correct, and there's some doubt about that, were introduced in 1972. They're both 80 proof. They're both distilled, blended and aged, or aged and blended, depending on which method they're using. In Canada, one is bottled in Canada, one is bottled in Kentucky. Now, here's what I'm talking about. Canadian Limited. Canadian Limited. See that? Limited. It's got the beaver chewing on a branch. It's got two lines with crowns. It's got two crowns. 5 fleur-de-lis. All about Canada. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. This is being bottled at Fleischmann Distilling of Owensboro, Kentucky. Hey, you ever notice that Fleischmann's Distilling is of Owensboro, Kentucky, and Glenmore is at Owensboro, Kentucky? Yeah, it's the same bottling plant. But anyway, Sazerac has about 200 alias names, so that's okay. All right, Canadian Limited, 1972. For a little while, they had magazine ads and big promotion. You see, Fleischmann's didn't have a whole lot of money, and they eventually got bought out by Sazerac. Now, the other one that is a little more tricky is Gibson's. This company was started in 1837 by an American, so it was an American whiskey. They got chased out of America, the United States of America, by prohibition, so they went to Canada. Then over time, the company got bought out. You know that same old story. Okay. Supposedly in 1972, this Gibson's Canadian version was introduced. And some people are saying it was the 12-year that was introduced in 72. I don't know. You wouldn't get any kind of good information from the website because it tells you nothing, except it's from Canada and they got this and the sterling. But I did some trademark research, and you know what I found out? It said that the trademark for Gibson's Finest was only 2015. That's 4 years ago. So, hey, you know what? I'm not so sure this is that old. But the Canadian viewers might know. But I got to have some source material. You know what I mean? I've already got enough of, well, this guy said this, and I heard from a friend that it's true. That's nice, and it's probably true, but I need some good source material, which I cannot get. What I do know definitively, it's 80 proof, 40% alcohol. It's aged 12 years, and it's a William Grant and Sons brand. That I know. Everything else is not pinned down. But then on the other hand, does it really matter? How many people are out there worrying about what year Gibson's Finest hit the market? Maybe me and only me. Well, we do like that it has a real cork, not some rubberized cork, although some people are telling me the rubberized is better, the rubber cork, because it doesn't dry rot. I had that problem once with a 1983 bottle of Wild Turkey 101. A guy gave me the whole bottle, never opened. Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Bobby Futch gave it to me. He said, well, I'm not going to drink it. And I did ask you for it. I said, well, if you're going to throw it out, would somebody else in your family want it? He said, no, they wouldn't. I said, well, I'll take it. I mean, you know, if you don't want it. And then he brought it to me. So I appreciated that. I mean, if it was sitting there at his house for 35 years, probably was going to sit there for 35 more. So, but when I pulled the cork, it just disintegrated into the whiskey. That was very irritating. It was so dry rotted. Okay. Now, luckily, the Old Crow from 1977, the other bottle he gave me, the Old Crow 101. Now they don't even make that anymore. Which was put in the barrel in 1969 and bottled in 1977. He gave me. Somebody said, "Man, that was hundreds of dollars." Somebody told me that thing is worth hundreds of dollars, man. Why are you opening it? It's got the tag on it. You know, it's got the stamp, the green stamp, the bottle and bond stamp. He said, you don't do that. You can sell it. But I don't know. To me, the purpose of a drink is to drink it. It's not all about trading and stashing them and storing them. And I know a man, and you know who you are, Bruce Cascio. I said, Mr. Bruce, I got to ask you a question. You're always coming into this store and you're buying $90 bottles of bourbon, $125 a bottle of bourbon. And he only buys bourbon. I said, well, is that stuff worth it? I mean, when you drink it, is it really worth the price? And he says, the way he talks, like, he said, Ron, I don't drink that stuff. I said, what? I was just looking at him like, I said, what do you mean you don't drink it? Oh, I just buy it and I store it in a room. I've got hundreds, he says, I got hundreds of bottles of bourbon that I've been buying since 1967. Well, it was 2017 when he told me that, and he said it was 50 years, so that would be 1967, that I've never opened. I was like, okay. And I'm thinking, that's the purpose of buying bourbon. Who ever heard of drinking it when you could save it in a room for 50 years? See what I mean? I think I would like to get that at an estate sale more than anything in my life. Can you imagine? And they'd be like, you could have this whole room of bourbon, but it's going to cost you $200. And you'd be like, okay, I'll give it to you. And try not to let your hand shake. And in Louisiana, it's actually against the law to buy something if you know it's worth more. Like if somebody says, I sell it to you for $200, but they know it, but you know it's worth like $10,000. It's illegal to buy. Now, how that would be enforced, I would like to know. The honor system, is that how it gets enforced, the honor system? So it's we have many laws, you know, all states have very strange laws like that. It's not like you're scamming somebody out of it. It's like you're obligated to tell them, well, you know, it's really worth $10,000, so I need to give you $10,000. Okay. Now, I can understand if you were telling them something else, saying, oh, that's not worth anything. So you're knowingly lying to them. So that makes you a scam artist. That makes you a thief, a criminal, a gangster. All right. But anyway, enough of ethical considerations of buying bourbon, which has nothing to do with Canadian whiskey, except that sometimes, or I should say maybe even oftentimes, Canadian whiskey is flavored with bourbon, rum, brandy, wine, and so on. Hey, look. The Gibson's big, you see this big glass jug bottle. Don't you see that? You see it. This bottle is glass, and it's 1,750 milliliters. You know, this is no joke. And it only cost me $9.99. You say, I'm running out. Now, you might be watching and say, I'm running out today and buying my $9.99 bottle. You could run out, but probably you're going to find it for $40, okay? Unfortunately, I don't know why I got it so cheap, but I wasn't asking. You might say, yeah, well, you should have told him it was worth 40 and insisted on paying 40. According to the law, maybe that was the case, but I thought Savannah Discount is a big liquor store. They seem like they would know what they should sell stuff for, right? Anyway, now the Canadian Limited, it was only $7.49 from Walmart. You heard me right, $7.49 for a regular size bottle. You can see it, Sazerac. You see that? That little lip at the bottom. I think the price went up. I think it's like $7.99 now, or $7.79. I know it went up a little bit. Still less than $8 at Walmart all day long. And you can get the big jug bottles. Man, International Market in Metairie was selling Canadian Limited with the big bottle like the Gibsons I have here, the 1,750 milliliter bottle, plastic. Those are plastic for $10.99. And they had cases of it, and it was moving steady. It was like a steady clip of people coming in there and buying it. And my friend David said, what? He's like, I'm going to go buy it. But then he wanted to try it first. He said, let me try it at your house. I said, okay. So I poured in my glass, like in this. He's smelling it. Ugh, what's that smell? And then he tries it. He said, ugh, it tastes like black licorice. He stood up and he dumped it in my sink. I said, wow, man. I didn't buy this whiskey so you could waste it. He was like, well, you wanted me to try it. I was like, yeah, but I don't, you know, homie, don't play that. You know, you don't try whiskeys and dump them out. And I got burnt. I'm not really worried about it. But, and then this lady, Donna, I bought her a bottle of pumpkin ale, Crown Valley Imperial Pumpkin Smash. They had it on closeout for 99 cents. I should have saved it for myself. But against my better judgment, I said, hey, Donna, you want to try this pumpkin beer? It tastes and smells like pumpkin pie. And she says, I never had pumpkin pie in my life. And I'm looking at her like, what? You're 60 years old. You never had pumpkin pie? Well, she never did. Okay, so, oh, yeah, I'll try it. But then yesterday she was like not telling me anything. I thought, that's strange that she's here in my presence. And she hasn't mentioned that Imperial Pumpkin Smash. I said, I know what happened. So later I said, hey, you had a good weekend? And she said, yeah. I said, you tried that pumpkin smash? Oh, she was doing like that. Well, I don't know what that hand signal means. But she says, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. I say, uh-oh. I said, what'd you think? She said, it wasn't for me. I took one taste and I said, no way. And I said, damn, damn, damn. That's a $5 bottle of beer. That's 10.6% alcohol, and she dumped it down the sink. Oh, well, I'm not angry at her. She doesn't have to be drinking stuff that's going to make her, like, say, bleh. I'm mad at me for not drinking it. And I need to stop this trying to encourage people to drink different things. She likes Miller High Life Light. She's drunk that for years. She's satisfied with it. Why do I need to be out here saying, hey, try this? And then my neighbor across the street one time I said, hey, you want to try this Sierra Nevada Torpedo Extra IPA? And then she told me on the phone, hey, well, that was okay, but I really like the Ice House you've been bringing me. I was like, good grief. She likes Ice House more than Sierra Nevada Torpedo. And I don't even know if she drank that torpedo. She might have dumped it out. I said, but I need to stop. Okay, so I need to stop being an enthusiast for other people. Be an enthusiast for me. You know what I'm saying? And that's not selfish. You can't say I'm selfish because I offered to buy it for them. But I've been batting at about less than 100. You know what I mean? Like my success rate is terrible because I get people to try stuff and they hate it. And they hate it. Or if they do hate it, sometimes they won't admit it. They'll just say, oh, that's interesting. You know, that's pretty good. And I'm looking at them thinking, when I leave your house, you're going to dump it out. I know you will. So that's over. I give up. Maybe. I hope I give up. I'm trying to get people to, okay, this is the Canadian Limited. That was fast. I mean, the story wasn't, but you get the point. And that's the Gibsons. And I'm going to tell you why. The Canadian Limited has a rich, John Danile coined the term almond extract aroma and taste, which he wasn't too thrilled with. They don't use almond extract, but it's some strange thing like it's the Sazerac Canadian whiskey flavoring regimen. You call it a regimen. We call it a regimen. They all call it a regimen. It's like a musty, oh, it's not a candy. Why are my eyes closed? I know what it is. It is like a nut oil. Oh, no, you might be watching the video and know what that is. Maybe you have experience with Canadian Limited and Rich and Rare and all of that, James Fox. But it's distinct and it's unusual. But it's not, to me, it's not bad. You might think it's awful. And what are these other? Oh, a lot of corn. A lot of corn whiskey, grain alcohol, column still grain alcohol. Yeah, I know it's probably 80% grain spirits and 20% malt whiskey, you see, and maybe some rum brandy. flavor, wine flavoring. See, when you start mixing all that together, how do you pin it down, right? But you never think it's the other stuff. Now the Gibsons. It's a lot of wood in the nose. 12 years in a barrel, and that's what you're getting. Wood, wood, wood. You ought to go to Woodville, Mississippi and drink this. But there's an unfortunate part of that. It's coming across in the flavor as a harsh, jagged, somewhat unpleasant wood approach. Like some wood is so nice, you know, it's so much, but some of it is like you got splinters in your fingers. You would think 12 years in a barrel it would smooth it out, but I haven't been noticing that. But I mean, let's be fair about it. Let me see something. Let's see. 742 divided by 750 times 1750. Yeah, the Gibson's is way cheaper per ounce. If you had this in a 750 bottle, it would be $4.28. You hear what I'm saying to you? $4.28. No whiskey is really going to cost $4.28. I don't know why this Gibson's was so cheap at Savannah Discount. If I went back to Savannah Discount and they had some other Canadian whiskey I never tried for $9.99 for that size bottle, would I buy it? I mean, that's a stupid question that I'm asking, right? You know I'd buy it. Even if it was bad and I'd buy it. This stuff isn't bad. It's just not real terrifically great. Oh, yeah. CVS Pharmacy has the Grand Legacy Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. Oh, yeah, it's a big old huge bottle like that. Oh, yeah, it's plastic. Oh, yeah, it's $10.99 on a perpetual sale. Oh, yeah, it's from Sazerac under some alias name. The Legacy Distilling Company or whatever they're calling it. Yeah, I'm going to buy it. You know, I'm going to buy it. Does a does a hobbyist not follow the hobby? I mean, all right. The Canadian Limited might throw you for a loop at first. Like you might say, what is this weirdness? But I think if you're like me and you get used to drinking it, you start to like it. I'm down to the bottom 35% of the bottle. Don't you know that? It has an interesting flavor. I mean, it's mostly grain alcohol, but it has like this, the flavorings kind of mellow it and adventurize it. You know what I mean? Like make it a little adventure, a drinking adventure. Another weird thing about it, it's one of the top 20 Canadian whiskeys selling in the United States at this time. You take, what are the top 20 Canadian whiskeys sold in America? That's one of them. So they make money off this stuff. Is it going to win any competitions? No, especially when you consider they never put it in competition. They have enough sense. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to do that. But it sells. I mean, if you could sell this and people buy it, and then you sell more and they buy more and you sell more and they buy more, heck, I'd keep selling it. Somebody out there likes it, including me. But I'd be curious to see what you whiskey enthusiasts think about Canadian Limited. Have you had it? Have you tried it? What do you think about it? Would you buy it again? I've had a few people comment on it in the past and say, man, I drink that every day, man. What are you talking about? That's my jam, you know. So Gibson's. Oh. It's got a bite, man. But it's a lot of rye. I'm gonna be real with you, because I'm hip like that. You know, I talk hip, you know, because I'm real. You dig? But I'm just copying what I see on the internet. I see how people talk and then I try to mimic it. But It must have a really high rye character. It's got a lot of black pepper burn. You know, that rye has that black pepper thing. So this is like a real high rye whiskey. Now, imagine if you tried the Gibson Sterling. They call that Gibson Sterling high rye whiskey. Whoa, that would spice you out the room. You would think you got dropped into a vat full of spices. You wouldn't. You would think you listening to the Spice Girls. And then Sporty Spice would do that backflip. And you say, oh, bazam's on now. All right, but you know what I'm saying? You could be my whiskey. But, oh, so could I tell them apart? Yeah, on aroma only in like a half second. You saw the video. It wasn't even a second. It was a half second. I said, boom, that's Canadian Limited. That's how fast. And I wasn't cheating. So there is no way you would ever confuse Canadian Limited to Gibson's only unless you had no experience with them. Well, that would make sense. But I have experience with them now. And so I'm really starting to get a taste for them. Maybe not a taste to say I want to drink them again. A taste, what I mean is where I can tell them apart. Oh, you say, which one's better to you? Okay. Just, this is to me. Other people would maybe strongly disagree. So if the price was the same, and it sure isn't, in a normal situation, it is not the same. The Gibsons would be about $25 a bottle. Oh, well, let's say $20 a bottle. 20 and the Canadian Limited is about $8 or less. So they're not the same. No way, no how. But let's say they were. But let's say they're not the same. Let's just say which one tastes better. We don't have to really factor that out. Although it's helpful and sensible to do that. Okay, Limited. Is it the best Canadian whiskey I've ever had? No. Not by a long shot. On the other hand, it's interesting. There is a lot of peppery spice at the bottom. Taste of this. Drink this. Now you go buy a bottle and taste this and tell me it doesn't have a lot of rye at the bottom end of the sip. It does. It does. It does. It does have that. And it's not harsh. It's no way harsh or bitey. So that's a benefit, I think. Now this, I'm drinking these neat. You know me, I don't make mixed drinks and I don't even add water or ice. Gibson's. Gibson's is a slow build. You know what I mean? Like when you first taste it, it's almost no flavor. And then it starts to grow. And then the wood kicks in and it's like, whoa. And then the rye comes in right after the wood. And then it really hits it up spiciness with a lot of spiciness. So it is sort of complex, you know. 12 years gives it a lot of character, but you didn't ask me that. You said, what's better? I guess you gotta say the Gibson's is better because it's just a better product. Okay, so if we're just looking at it like that, okay, Gibson's is better. It's better. It's better. We all know that. But on the other hand, maybe I'd rather drink Canadian Limited. People saying, oh, I gotta unsubscribe to this stinking rotten, stupid idiot channel. You could do that if you want, because I don't watch videos that I'm not interested in. But I think I understand Canadian Limited because I think what they're trying to do with this is they're trying to make a Canadian Club mimic. It has a lot of Canadian Club characteristics. And I think that's what Sazerac is doing with that flavoring. You say, well, they're a bunch of cheaters. They just try to copy other people's stuff. Exactly. You got it. I think Sazerac is saying, all right, Canadian Club is like one of the top 5 selling Canadian whiskeys in the world, not just the United States. Like everybody knows Canadian Club. But we'll never find out their secret, even though we would like to. But let's try to make something that's similar to it. And if you drink Canadian Club, you know it's got that weird flavoring thing going too, that strange, you don't know what it is. It's like, is it Duncan Hines cream cheese frosting? You say, and you know it's not that. But is it some almond extract? Well, it isn't that. Is it beeswax? Is it honeycomb? It even tastes like honeycomb cereal. Well, it's nothing. You can't pin it down. Like I can sit here and go on and on, but I cannot describe it. You have to drink it. But if you drink Canadian Club, the current 5-year, because they don't make 6-year anymore, and then you drink this, you start to say, ooh, it's not an exact match. But there's commonalities. There's commonalities. And I've always been a big Canadian Club fanboy. You know, I'm always up here on the internet talking about, oh, Canadian Club this and Canadian Club that. Oh, did you hear the story about Canadian Club? And people probably say, I'm so sick of hearing about Canadian Club, I could scream. I understand that. I drank so much of it, I ran out of it. Except for the 12-year age. Still got about 65% of that bottle left. And by the way, my friend David absolutely loved it, as opposed to trying the Canadian Limited and hating it with extreme hatred. But he told me the Gibson's was good. He had a bottle at his office. And then I guess he took it home and he drank it because he had bought it across the street for $5. Same thing, weird. Like, why would you get it for $5? All right, so but he said, I tried it because I was kind of like harping on him. We ought to try it. Whiskey is to drink, not to save forever for the rest of your life. But he tried it and he said, it's pretty good. I like that stuff. That's good stuff. And he's very difficult to please, you know. So if he says it's good, it must really be good. Because if I say something's good, you might say, I don't know, you like a lot of stuff that most people would in their right senses wouldn't like. You know, what you enjoy is questionable. People might say that. Okay, that's fair. But he hates stuff that to me is good. Like, why do you hate that? So when he said Gibson's was good, I said, that's a good statement. But to back up the contention that maybe my flavor appreciation is inadequate, I'm saying I think I might prefer the Canadian Limited, and that could cause a lot of problems for me on the internet. But I'm not going to come on here and talk about what's better just to try to get views and likes and subscribers and have people say, I like your channel, man, because you love. No. I appreciate if people like the channel, and I appreciate it if people watch and all of that. But I'm not going to pander to the audience. I can't. Not to me. I can't do it. If I say something is better, even though it's cheaper, I just got to go with it. I've done that with beer, and I've set some people off, you know. But I think, to me, I'm saying for me, I can only drink for me. You can't drink for me. I can't drink for you. You know what I'm saying? For me, this is really about me, and you're watching it. Because we can only drink for ourselves. And I think that's an important point, which some people can't grasp. I don't know why they can't grasp that. For good or ill, no matter how it shakes out, I'm saying here, I think I prefer the Canadian Limited. Now, that's it. Nowhere did I say it was some kind of great product. You didn't hear me say that. You never heard me talk about how fabulous Canadian Limited was. You never heard any of those things. I just said I think I would prefer to drink it over Gibson's Finest now. Okay. Thursday. Thursday morning, I'm looking at Gibson's versus Rich and Rare. You say Rich and Rare. Another one that's in the top 20. True story. Rich and Rare is one of the top selling Canadian whiskeys in America. You might roll your eyes and say, but why? There are that many insane people. There's a lot of insane people in America. Not literally insane, but they may as well be insane. Look at who they vote for. Look at how they dress. You say, oh, yeah, you didn't look in the mirror with your T-shirts and your sports apparel. Oh, I've looked in the mirror. Look at the shows they watch on TV. So, but it is one of the top 20 selling whiskeys in America. That is indisputable. Whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, Rich and Rare is. It is. And that's going to go up against Gibson's. I'm starting to have a lot of doubts. I think Rich and Rare is going to hold its own against Gibson's. I'll be able to tell them apart in a split second, just like today. And I got a feeling, like Paul McCartney said, I got a feeling down inside. Oh, yeah, that he said that 50 years ago. I got a feeling that Gibson's is not going to win now. In the afternoon, could be the morning if I bump it up. You know, if I bump it up. On the 11th of April, I plan to do Gibson's versus Rich and Rare Reserve. No age statement on Rich and Rare Reserve. I don't know how long it's aged. I don't know. I just think Rich and Rare Reserve is going to beat it. Now, when they say Rich and Rare is one of the top 20 selling whiskeys, Canadian whiskeys in America, I have a feeling that they're combining Rich and Rare Reserve with Rich and Rare. You know what I mean? Like whoever's compiling those sales figures are taking the two brands, Rich and Rare Reserve, and they're counting them as one whiskey. It's like the regular and the deluxe, but they're counting it as one. That they really shouldn't do that, but I have a feeling they're doing that. But I bet you Rich and Rare, the regular one, is probably 90% of the sales. Oh, at least 80, 75%. No lower. So that cheap bottom shelf Rich and Rare, yeah, that's the main seller. But I think I'm not too confident about Gibson's. And then we'll close it out with Canadian Club 12 year, because I have to start on the Heir to the Throne. I don't even know how I'm going to do those taste challenges. Nobody's going to watch because they can't get it. People are going to say, why would I want to watch that? I can't get Heir to the Throne. I've never heard of it in my life. How did you find it? Hey, look, I found it. I bought it. It was about $16, but there was no way I was passing that up. It's pretty dang good. At least initially, it's pretty dang good. All right, time for lunch. So Gibson's. Wow, I can't believe this whiskey is underperforming like this. It's beyond belief. Do I hate it? No. Would I drink it? Yeah, I'm drinking it. Do I like it? Yes, I like it. I would recommend it, but it is not performing that well. It has to be one of the most shocking whiskey developments I've run into in this series I've done for 3 or 4 years. No, it's about 3 years. Yeah, I can't get over it. Well, you never know. Thanks for watching this video production.